Huge scoring performances from the NBA's starriest of stars, incredible finishes with all kinds of postseason implications. It was an incredible night in the NBA, and we are going to talk about it all, and we're going to talk about what it all means today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets, and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And there were a lot of big stories last night. Luckily, I have two of Locked On's premier national NBA experts here to tell me what it all means. From the Locked On Nuggets podcast and a senior NBA writer for the Action Network, he's our man of 1,000 podcasts. It's Matt Moore. Matt, on your Substack, Hardwood Paroxysm, you're working on the definitive MVP case for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. In it, you write about dead arm push-offs. So I want to know, who is the best push-off artist in the NBA right now? Is it Shai? Is it someone else? Who is the most valuable pusher?
I really think it's Shai. His ability to go watch the clips on the Substack. He does this incredible move. He's got so much body control in his upper arm to create separation while his forearm is completely limp. So he never gets tagged with the push off. It is absolutely phenomenal. Chris Paul is really good at it. Dwayne Wade was exceptional at it. Tony Parker was very good at it. There's a lot of players I think that are good at it. Cade's actually getting there. But man, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is another level. The separation he creates with just a little bit of power in his shoulder is absolutely tremendous.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, we've got the Prince of Petty. It's Hayes. Hayes, Bulls rookie Matas Buzelis doesn't have the minutes or the totals to win Rookie of the Year, I don't think, but has put up some eye-popping stat lines lately. In a few words, what's the case that he's the best player or will be the best player out of the 2024 draft?
I think it's the well-roundedness of his game. He's sound defensively, he's sound offensively. He still has things that he definitely needs to work on, but he's a student of the game. We talked about it after last game. He's been watching Andre Karolinko tape to learn how to be a better defender. That work is what's going to make him the best out this draft class.
I love it. I also loved everything that happened last night on an NBA basketball floor. It was an amazing night. After Steph Curry dropped 52 on the Memphis Grizzlies, I thought for sure we would be leading with that, but no. The Wolves and the Nuggets delivered another regular season classic, this one going to double overtime where free throws by Nickeil Alexander-Walker put a punctuation on what was a wild ending and put an L next to the highest scoring triple-double in NBA history, 61 points by who else? Nikola Jokic. Before we hear from Ben Beacon of Locked On Wolves, I just want to know what your major takeaway was from this incredible game. Matt, we'll start with you.
Privilege to be in the building. Anytime these two teams get together, it's great. That game in particular was just absolutely amazing. The whole crowd was amazed at how great the game was. It was so much fun. Right up until the moment the officials completely lost the plot. How do you not call it out of bounds there so you can review it? How do you just call a jump ball which can't be reviewed? How do you possibly Hayes, do you want a game like that decided by that foul call? Does anybody that is not a Wolves fan want a game like that decided by a foul call? This has got nothing to do with the Nuggets winning or losing. That was an awesome basketball game, an instant classic. And that's what we get for an ending. Disgraceful job by the officials last night in ruining the ending of an absolute classic.
That was probably one of the best games that I have watched this season, period. And for it to come down to that foul call, it does take a little bit out of it because it was such a good game, such a good performance by Jokic, such a good performance by everybody involved in that basketball game. But, the thing I'm going to take away from this, rather than the refs, which does suck, I again, for everybody that continues to hate on Matt Moore was right. He told you guys to look out for the Wolves for weeks now. Listen to Matt Moore more.
Oh, thanks, Hayes. That makes me feel a little better.
All right, let's go to some Wolves perspective from Ben Beacon of Locked On Wolves, who I don't think would have much of an argument with Matt Moore's analysis of the end of that game.
They were able to withstand Nikola Jokic doing Nikola Jokic things. And obviously, I believe on TNT, Candace Parker gave this guiding report, you got to turn Joker into a scorer. And that's true, and we've been saying it for years, and sometimes he just scores, and he did in this game. But especially with no Porter Jr. and no Murray, you have to make him score. Or let me rephrase that. He's going to shoot the ball a ton, so you have to just kind of try and make his life a little bit more difficult. Did the Wolves deserve to win this game? There was some impressive play, especially impressive shot making from the Wolves, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But like the Nuggets started better, and you could argue they finished better outside of the very last possession of the game, which was all kind of Russell Westbrook doing 2020, the decade of the 2020s Russ stuff, blowing a layup, committing a foul and a three-point shot at the buzzer that allows the opponent to win. That's kind of how this thing ended. It wasn't necessarily because the Wolves executed extremely well.
I want to get to the Russ stuff in just a second, but Matt, does the 61-point triple-double and the minutes played in this game by Jokic signal an unhealthy dependence on him? And is there anything the Nuggets could or should do about it as they approach the postseason?
No, look, you're without Murray and Porter Jr., so you're without two starters in this game, and offense wasn't the problem here. They shot 55% from the field. They got good contributions from a lot of guys. Like Aaron Gordon had 30 points in this game. Like 30 points in this game. Christian Brown, 18 points. Russell Westbrook had 12, along with a lot of mistakes. Really needed it to be 14 for them. They were actually plus 15 in the minutes when Josh Minott did not play. Shout out Josh Minott, who I loved as a draft pick and in summer league play. But like they were okay here. Yoke after the game, Malone said, like, I asked him, like, hey, like he came up to me after the third quarter and said, I'm good. Don't take me out. I feel good. And then after the game, Jokic said, Malone kept asking him, hey, do you want to come out? And Jokic said, no, I feel good. I'm in a good rhythm. Let's keep going. Like that's what Yoke's made of, is that he's just like, no, I'm going to push through. I'm not guaranteeing he's not going to play tonight on the back-to-back, Hayes. The man is made of different stuff.
This is what he's made, what he's put here to do. Like he is different. And you know, as far as the question though, does it show over reliance on Jokic? Yes, I mean, you can make that case even without a game like this, right? Like Jokic is such an important part of what they do as far as the engine of what they do. But let's not act like the Nuggets aren't a good team even without it. They're just a great team with Jokic. They're going to be such a difficult out in the playoffs. But here's the thing. I think when you have a player as great as Jokic, you're supposed to be able to lean on him. So I don't know if it's over reliance or not. I don't know if I categorize it as that.
All right, Hayes, Russell Westbrook misses the layup in double overtime, fouls Alexander-Walker on the corner three attempt. Just really quickly, did you agree with Russ's decision-making there to even attempt the layup that he missed instead of holding onto the basketball, looking for a foul in that situation?
I would have taken the layup too. I get if people say he probably shouldn't have tried to take it, but I would have taken it too. I mean, it wasn't the worst missed layup on the night. We did have a night where Zach LaVine missed a game-winning layup, so there you go on that.
Matt, should we be more mad at Christian Brown? I mean, he's an 83% free throw shooter, and he tried to expose a two-on-one situation there. Or was the ire towards Russell Westbrook deserved?
Look, I don't always agree with like players' assessments of who should win awards or these types of things. But you know what I do trust them in? Situational game basketball. Like that's what I trust them, because they're the best in the world at it. To a man, those players said last night that it was the right decision. That is not on the record commentary from them about to try and cover for their teammate. This was an open conversation. And like, I don't talk about conversations that are held off record in the locker room. My rule is if you're not speaking into my microphone, it did not happen. But this is a rare exception where I will say they were openly talking about, you got to take that layup. It's 2-on-1, man. That is a perfect 2-on-1. You have to take the layup. Like, we don't know what happens. He misses both free throws. He misses one free throw and it leads to a run out. There's all these circumstances that occur that can change the circumstances. He's got to make the layup. That's the problem. He's got to make the layup. And I said this last night on Locked On Nuggets, and I believe it. This is what the basketball gods have decided. He's a guy that has had an incredible career, has done everything right in terms of off the court. You cannot have a complaint with how this man has carried himself. He has been a fantastic leader for locker rooms and in his communities. But the basketball gods have decided that Steph Curry can chuck it up from 50 feet and it goes in, and Russell Westbrook misses that layup. That's the determination of the basketball gods.
It's difficult to understand. They work in very mysterious ways. Speaking of things that players say after the game, a lot of Wolves players, almost all of them, were complimentary of Nikola Jokic after the game, in awe, basically. Anthony Edwards in particular, saying he was the greatest player he's ever seen before quickly correcting himself and saying, besides myself. If MVP was solely up to the players, Hayes, assuming they took it seriously, if they had to vote, do you think that Nikola Jokic would be the MVP over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'd say probably, because I think people respect like what Jokic is doing. Like what he's doing is so special, and players have a different perspective on just how much it takes to be as impactful in every facet of the game, especially on the offensive side of the ball that Jokic is. So I'd probably say yeah.
Yeah, I think he wins in part because I think that players look at defense very differently than we do on a number of levels. Like it's different because you would think that they would be like, well, he can't defend at all, but it's just different. It just really is the way that they talk about it, and they have a lot more respect for, I think, the offensive side, and not just though Jokic is a bit like Shai's thing is like you can do whatever, and he's probably going to make that shot anyway. With Jokic, it's like he's going to beat you with so many different ways. Every single combination that you throw at him, he's going to find ways to beat you. He's scoring over triple teams last night. He's beating everybody. No Murray, no Porter, and he's still putting the work in. It's just ridiculous what he's capable of. So yeah, I do think the players would vote him for MVP, but I also don't know that that's the right decision.
Well, you're writing about the other guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Make sure to check that out on Hardwood Paroxysm, Matt Substack. All right, coming up on Locked On NBA, we'll talk about the other game, the other outstanding game with an amazing individual performance, Warriors versus the Grizzlies. And I want to talk about the Warriors' upcoming schedule and what it means if they take down they're coming up against all three of the people above them in the Western Conference standings right now. I want to know what it means if they take out all three. That's coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Prize Picks. Baseball season, it's in full swing. Get it? Swing. And there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. Here's how it works. With Prize Picks, you just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. And if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Prize Picks makes every game more exciting. This week, I'm locking in on Aaron Judge for more than 1 home run. I mean, come on, that's a gimme, right? And Shohei Ohtani for more than 1 stolen base. And really, you could pick Shohei Ohtani for anything. He does it all. It's that easy. Setting up your lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, payouts are fast, they're safe, and they're secure. And don't miss Taco Tuesday. Prize Picks gives you discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Maybe it's your first watch on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA, where you can leave us your comments. Steph Curry, he went on a vintage heater, and Ja Morant did his best to match in a high-scoring Warriors win over the free-falling Memphis Grizzlies. Let's kick it to Charlie Walter of Locked On Warriors for more.
You knew after 1 quarter that this was one of those Steph Curry games. 32 points in the first half, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. He was 11 of 16 from the floor, was 8 of 10 from 3. He had 8 threes in the first half. Curry finished with 52. Then from there, Jimmy Butler was awesome down the stretch. 12 of 12 from the free throw line. He had 27 points in the game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I was seeing on Reddit early in the game, fans were saying Butler's really got to take over. He's got to start doing some scoring. That's an efficient 7 of 11, 12 of 12 in the charity stripe, and 27 points in the game. More separation in the 5 spot right now. This was playoff level basketball tonight. And once again, it shows you that if you have number 30 on your team, you got a chance. Does it feel like 21-22? I don't know yet. There's a lot of basketball to be played, but look at the record with Steph Curry since Jimmy Butler has been traded. It is impeccable. The team has been sensational.
If you're not watching on YouTube, that was Charlie Walter in the Dallas airport with a Reds baseball t-shirt on reporting on the Golden State Warriors. I have no idea what's going on there.
I literally was like, is he at TSA? Like, that was really like my question. I'm like worried that Charlie's going to get dragged off by TSA agents.
I think he was minutes away from boarding the flight. That's all I know. The Warriors beat the Grizzlies. They jumped them in the standings, and their next 3 games are against, in order, the 4th-seeded Lakers, the 3rd-seeded Nuggets, and the 2nd-seeded Houston Rockets. Fill in the blank for me here, Matt. If the Golden State Warriors sweep those 3 games, they are blank.
Lucky.
Whoa, okay.
They're gonna go 3-4 or 4-3 the rest of the way. Depends on whether the Clippers want to win that game or not at the end. This is cute. It's adorable. It's a fun little story. It's not serious. I'm not sold. I am not convinced. Congratulations on beating a spiraling team that decided to play a lineup featuring Scottie Pippen Jr. and Zach Edey versus Steph Curry. I'll just go ahead and spoil it for you if you missed it. Did not go well. That game was frustrating as a Memphis guy for so many reasons. But among them, I just think is like Steph's amazing, and he has these performances, and it's great to see him doing this. I thought the quote from Steph was really great, that like he wants to play meaningful basketball. That's all he really wants, is to play meaningful basketball. It's too bad he's not, because I don't think they're going to actually go anywhere, Hayes. I just don't think that. I do not buy this team. I'm putting my foot down and saying this is smoke and mirrors.
I'll write a few cute, adorable, not all right. I've written those down. I've got a Post-it note here to check back on this later. Hayes, what do you think?
If they were to win those 3 games, I mean, fun. I think that this Warriors team is going to be a fun team. I've said it multiple times, I'm not picking them to make it the Western Conference Finals or anything like that. But I do think, depending on how the matchups shake out, that they can make it out the first round and spoil somebody's hopes. Like right now, they face the Lakers. I wouldn't necessarily pick them to beat the Lakers in the first round, but I do think that they can beat the Lakers in the first round and just have some fun. I think this Warriors team, the key word here is fun. Everybody's having fun. It's like a group of old men who got their motorcycles all back out. They're going cross country, having a little bit of fun. That's what this is. This is the retirement tour. They're just having fun right now.
It's all fun and games till Jimmy goes Jimmy. That's what it is. It's all fun and games till Jimmy Butler goes Jimmy.
Well, but so maybe you mean that negatively, but I think there's also a positive side to that coin, which is why I don't know that I'm starting to. I think I believe in the Golden State Warriors, particularly if they start off with a home playoff series, because I think Steph Curry turning it on now, I still don't think we've seen the best of Jimmy Butler in a Warriors uniform. I think we could see that in the postseason. So I think there's a lot of room for the Warriors to make us all look foolish again.
Who wins if it's Warriors Clippers, Doug?
I would put my money on the Warriors right now, I think.
You've been on the Clippers.
I've been on the Clippers bandwagon the whole time. I think
you're just hopping. If the Grizzlies win 4 in a row, are they going to make it? Is that how that works?
No, I'm off the Grizzlies train for good. A lot happened last night, and I need help deciding if it's something or nothing, and I've got the perfect tandem to do that here. That's why we play Is This Something? And I want to stick with this game. There was a lot of hemming and hawing online about fouls that weren't called against Steph Curry, in particular one where Ja Morant seemed to bump him pretty significantly on a mid-range take, and fouls that were called against Jaren Jackson Jr., which I know, Matt, you are passionate about. Are either of these things anything or just fans being mad, Matt?
So Jaren tugged on a jersey twice when he's trying to get for a rebound, and those were bad fouls. Like, Jaren does commit stupid fouls. 2 things can be true. Jaren Jackson Jr. commits stupid fouls, and he gets the worst whistle of any great defender in the league. Draymond Green could take a box cutter and kill a man at midcourt, and the officials would be like, Draymond, you need to settle down, buddy. And that's all that would happen. But if Jaren Jackson contests on a putback attempt, it's a foul on him. Absolutely atrocious. Steph gets bumped a lot. You got, like, the greatest players get absolutely beat to snot. It's one of the things, if you go back and you really watch like how these guys are defended, it's crazy how much of a beating they take. Like LeBron, the fact that LeBron's playing with how physical guys are with him, the game is not as physical as it was in the 90s Hayes, but the star players take a beating. So I'm not surprised with Steph. I don't blame fans for being mad at that. I will say I genuinely do. I'm not an officiating guy most times. Jaren Jackson Jr. gets a terrible whistle.
Yeah, I mean, that it happens to some players, and I think that as Jaren Jackson Jr. continues, his reputation keeps growing. Hopefully that changes at some point, because there are players that get away with a lot more than what he gets away with, especially like sometimes Dylan Brooks against LeBron just gets away with some things. I'm just looking at like, what, like, I get it, LeBron's built like crazy, he can withstand it, but like, what are we doing here? It was a bad call. I mean, it was a bad play, but you know, at the end of the day, like, it's gonna happen. It is what it is. You gotta take the good with the bad. I don't like to just harping on officiating. My mindset a lot when it comes to officiating is like, you should play better in the game overall sometimes, to where you're not in a position that is like taking a huge swing for you. So, you know, it is what it is.
For Draymond Green's part, he was quoted after the game as saying, quote, on Jaren Jackson Jr., he's too good to still be getting in foul trouble. A couple of those he picked up. He can stay away from those. It's time for him to take that next step in that department. Always the podcaster,
Right.
Always the take artist, even after a game against the team that he just played that he could possibly see again in the postseason. If you ask him, he's got thoughts.
Really, please have him face the Lakers. Please have him get a Luka Lakers whistle. That's all I can dream and hope for.
Coming up, we're going to continue to play this game of Is This Something, including some interesting reporting on Kevin Durant's future in Phoenix. Maybe he's staying. I want to know if this is something or nothing. And the Bucks do something. It's like the second show in a row where a team or a player has done something that hasn't been done this century. The Bucks do it. We'll tell you about that coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my moolah go? My money, my cash. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center with all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. You can go beyond just managing money and start actually building wealth. You might be surprised, like I am, at how much you're spending on things like food delivery or streaming subscriptions. With Monarch, you'll see exactly where your money is going so you can budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, Monarch makes it easy to check your finances, track spending, and even plan for those long-term goals all in one place. And if you're managing money with a partner, it's never been smoother. You can track shared and your personal accounts, set goals together, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. Forget this, 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Make sure you're checking out Locked On NBA Game Night on this same feed. They're recapping every single game every night. Let's continue our game of Is This Something with a strange result between the Bucks and the Suns that featured something that hasn't happened in this century. Let's hear from Locked On Bucks.
I knew they were efficient, but I remember at one point in the third quarter looking up and seeing, man, they're shooting 66% right now. And I think that's when they built up the lead to 22. And then you looked in the fourth quarter and saw it's still in the high 60s. And this is all of a sudden a 5-point game. Like, what is going on here? Since losing Jericho Sims, the Bucks have dropped to 30th in rebounding rate at 45%. They've gone from tied for first in defensive rebounding to 27th in that stretch. I mean, that really is the biggest problem that we're seeing here, is you're just not closing possessions. And the Suns almost had as many offensive rebounds as defensive rebounds in this game tonight.
They've been the worst offensive rebounding team all year, and they've oftentimes been more turnover prone than opponents. So the other team just consistently gets more shots. You literally have to have like the greatest shooting performance in what was it, 1990? Did I see that correctly? It was 1998 was the last time a team, last time a team shot as high as the Bucks did tonight.
Yeah, incredible. The Bucks finish nearly at 69% from the field, 51 of 74. The first time it's been done since 1998 when the Clippers did it against the Toronto Raptors in a 152-120 win over the Raptors. A lot closer in this game. Also, both of those teams in 1998 were absolutely awful, but there are some great names. I looked this game up on Basketball Reference. The Raptors lineup featured 2 current NBA head coaches in Chauncey Billups and Doug Christie, and the names from the Clippers who had this record: Derek Martin, Rodney Rogers, Lamont Murray, Isaac Austin, and Eric Piatkowski. I mean, these names.
Yes,
incredible.
Eric Piatkowski. Let's go. Rodney Rogers. Hayes, Rodney Rogers.
Pooh Richardson off the bench. How about that?
Pooh is a bucket, Hayes.
Tracy McGrady off the bench for the young Raptors team. 22 minutes, 4 of 7 from the field.
Wow.
So there you go.
Wait a minute.
Here's my question. The Milwaukee Bucks shooting the highest field goal percentage this century and almost losing the game. Is this something they can figure out in the playoffs, or is this fatal, Hayes?
The Bucks are cooked. We talked about it. They're cooked. It's fatal. Listen, I'm not surprised by that. Shooting almost 69% and still almost losing the game seems like a Milwaukee Bucks thing to do. So I this is gonna be difficult for them, this playoff run, and that's just the way that this season was always gonna go for them. Like, the Milwaukee Bucks have Giannis, and hopefully that they can still kind of re-up on something going forward. But I don't have a lot of faith for the Bucks going into the playoffs anyway.
Look, stats can lie. I don't deny that stats can lie. You gotta always find context. But like, guys, they're the 7th best team shooting at the rim. They are the number 1 team in 3-point percentage this season. In a league dominated by 3-pointers, they shoot them better than anyone. Oh, but what about the defensive side? They have the 6th best opponent EFG. They're 7th in opponent offensive rebound rate. They're 6th in opponent free throw rate. They don't foul. How are they not better? I genuinely don't know. Like, they are very much the mirror image of the Suns, where the Suns are below 500 and the Bucks are above 500, where it's like, why are they not? We're asking about both of them. Why are they not better? And you can talk about right now, it's like, well, Dame's out. Sure. But they're obviously getting great offensive contributions. The only thing I can really get to here is like Doc Rivers simply does not inspire in them or tactically provide the support that they need. Like, I look at this whole thing and I'm just like, you hired a mid coach and you got a mid team. That's all I can really get to.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to be curious about. Like, I feel like maybe these rebounding, I understand the loss of Sims, but I feel like these rebounding issues at least could be mitigated. Maybe you can't become a good rebounding team again with the personnel that you have, but you could be better than you're playing right now. I want to shift over to the Suns. Because their issues are even more confounding. And recently, Logan Murdoch of The Ringer did a profile of the Suns, and sources told him that Kevin Durant is not closing the door on a return to Phoenix. And Devin Booker, quoted in that same profile, as saying, quote, "I will never be in a rebuild again." Matt, is this something? Are we writing off the Suns' future with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker?
Don't try and predict what KD's going to do. You don't know. We don't know. A year and a half ago, Woj, miss you, Woj, that he reported that KD was wanted out, and KD was like, "No, it's not true." He stayed. And then they've gone through all of this disaster and all this nonsense, and there's this conversation now that they're definitely going to trade him. Hayes, I don't know. Like, I do not think you can predict what's going to happen here. It is too of an unstable situation with too wild of an ownership group. What I will tell you is that many people in the league are confident that Mike Budenholzer is not going to be the coach of the Suns next year, which means they'll be paying Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and Mike Budenholzer to not coach their team. But that's what I've heard, and maybe a coaching change gets KD back in on it. At this point, I don't know what makes KD happy, and if there's nothing that can make him happy, maybe it doesn't mean that he's going to leave, because he would just be unhappy somewhere else.
KD staying in Phoenix would be a surprise to me. I think that it's best for him and the franchise to move on at this point. I think that that's just listen. They tried it. It's not going to work. I don't see how they can salvage this with still being over the second tax apron. Even if they were to make a deal to get underneath the second tax apron to where they have a little bit more flexibility, I still don't see how it's going to work. And Devin Booker saying that he'll never be in a rebuild again. Well, congrats. You find yourself in a place worse than a rebuild. You're in something that's built, and it's built in hell. That's where you are right now. It's worse than a rebuild. You have no flexibility with your roster. You have somebody on there that doesn't fit in, that has a no trade clause. You're in the second tax apron. You don't own your own draft picks. Devin Booker, you should be praying to be in a rebuild. At least there, the direction will be clear. So, that's what I got to say on that.
Can we get a short with the title being "The Phoenix Suns Were Built in Hell"? Can we do that? Because that was a banger of a quote.
I mean, I know Phoenix is hot. I didn't know it was that hot. And I don't know if Phoenix is hell and Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave, what does that make him? Think about that one. We're almost out of time, but I wanted to give Matt and Hayes some room to get some things off their chest and tell us what we should be talking about more. It's a segment we call Can We Talk About? Hayes, you're up first. What should we be talking about more?
This is because, I love basketball and I love all basketball, but I think that we should be talking a little bit more about those Eastern Conference, the play-in teams there, not because the Bulls are there. They're all starting to play better now, and I think that Eastern Conference play-in tournament is going to be a lot better than I was giving it credit for initially. You got the Miami Heat on a 5-game winning streak. The Orlando Magic are 6-4 in their last 10. The Atlanta Hawks are 5-5 in their last 10. The Chicago Bulls are playing okay. So I think because with all those things, nobody can say that I'm a front runner for my team. Nobody can say that, but I do think that the Eastern Conference play-in tournament is going to be just some fun basketball as a prelude to the playoffs.
Can we make a fake trailer for the play-in tournament with Hayes and be like, the Heat and Tyler Hero, the Magic with Paolo Banchero, the Bulls are okay, coming up on ESPN. Absolutely phenomenal. Mine real quick is going to be the Portland Trailblazers and their defense. Now, I don't think the Blazers should have been as good as they are this season, but I'll tell you something, doing all these clips, I've watched every Shai Gilgeous-Alexander offensive clip this season. I've watched a lot of fouls over the last 3 weeks. But guys stand out when you're doing this. It's one of my favorite things. You catch other guys, Tamani Cameron, Shaden Sharp. These guys are high-level defenders that fight over screens and really compete. Like the compete level on the Blazers defense with Donovan Clingan and how he's going to develop in year 2 with whatever they're able to get in the draft. Hopefully Scoot Henderson takes another step forward and can make a layup. Don't ask Russell Westbrook about that. I have some hope that the Blazers are going to be pretty even if the Blazers aren't good, they're going to be competitive. And to me, that's really impressive. The defensive competitiveness and fight in the Portland Trailblazers is worth talking about.
Of the rebuilding teams, are the Portland Trailblazers like your highest pre-leap team?
Oh, no, but baby, it's the Washington Wizards. I'm telling you, there is something going on with the Washington Wizards. AJ Johnson, Colby Jones is giving them good minutes. Alex Sarr. If they don't trade Chris Middleton, that team will win 30-plus games next year. I'm not even kidding. They're going to win 30-plus games next year when they get everybody back and if they don't trade Chris Middleton.
And how dependent on that is acquiring Cooper Flagg in the draft? Or if they fall to 2, 3, 4... I think even if they get Dylan Harper, I think honestly, even if they get Ace Bailey as a primary offensive weapon, that's how far they can go. VJ Edgecombe, like there's a lot of star talent in this draft. And yes. I think one of these guys is going to be an absolute star for the Washington Wizards. Hayes, who tops your pre-leap list? Teams that are just on the verge of competing next season.
Man,
is it the Bulls?
Is it the Bulls? Yeah, I mean, it could be the Bulls.
Could be. No, it really could be. It really could be the Bulls. I do think, depending on what happens in the lottery, it could be the Bulls. But I'll say, forget it. Yes, I'll say the Chicago Bulls. Modest Bucelis is going to make a second-year leap. Josh Giddey is going to be playing great. The Bulls are going to be contending for the 7th or 6th seed next year. There you go.
There we go. We pulled it out of them, folks. We did it. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Hayes for their expertise as always. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Enjoy tonight's action. Be kind to each other. And we're going to see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA.